little bit more. I know I promised you guys in this video that I would start talking about um, training at work as well, and maybe I'll cover both topics, but I want to start here on the distraction of cell phones. And here's the first thing I'm going to say is I've noticed this a lot. Let me just start something here. Um, okay, okay, there we go. All right, so first thing I want to start off by saying is I've noticed this mostly in the youth. Okay, I'm gonna mention something. The other day, something happened. So I go to youth group at a church, and in that youth group, the youth pastor has been very respectful, very let the kids know, okay, there is no cell phones during the message. If you have a cell phone during the message, you need to turn it off. And well, I guess not no cell phones. You can use your cell phone for the Bible, but please don't be, gaming and stuff like that. Okay, so here is the main thing about that is I've seen kids playing their game while the message is going and um obviously not paying attention. And so here's why cell phones are one of the biggest distractions to everything that we have and what we see is I said everything, um but the first thing is cell phones are such a distraction because constantly in order to get off cell phone, in order to pay attention, you have to like turn them off. For this new generation coming up, it's like you have to turn them completely off in order to not get back on them. People are getting on cell phones and getting addicted. There's games that they're creating that are even more addicting. For instance, Clash Royale. Everyone likes Clash Royale. Everyone hops on it. But during a message, seriously, like people are, I guess, ignoring what the youth pastor has to say and say, no, we're going to anyways. And he literally said, there's three boys that do it mostly. And he said to one of them, he said, okay, I don't want to see you getting into your Clash Royale. Like, open the Bible app and start, get it all ready, okay? If I know what Clash Royale sounds like. And as he was downloading the Bible app on his phone, he ended up actually, I heard the sound of Clash Royale, and everyone did. And he was like trying to make an excuse. No, 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 it wasn't me. It wasn't. It was just the sound. I swear it wasn't. And it's like it obviously was, and just trying to make an excuse, stuff like that. So honestly, I see cell phones are such a big distraction from what actually needs to be done. I see that in my own life. I mean, cell phones are a huge distraction because as I even now, like live streaming is good, but there's obviously things that it's preventing me from right now. Starting school, starting stuff that I should be doing right. And there's nothing wrong with that ultimately. Yes, it can create, I guess, barriers that need to be done and stuff like that. Anyway, so ultimately what I'm trying to say is even in my own life, there's places where a cell phone is mostly a distraction, especially if you hop on YouTube for a few minutes just to scroll one video, you end up scrolling for at least 30 minutes without thinking about it. It's just kind of something that's kind of in your mind. And it's something that people should be, I guess, warned and people should know about the real danger, I guess, of the whole thing is because I guess I'm seeing at youth group when we're trying to be serious, focus on God's word. People are pulling out their phones and playing Clash Royale, not focusing on the message at all, in the least, but more focused on their game. And I guess I was seeing the whole day, all day long, during the game, everything. The youth pastor had to explain it explain the rules to the game over and over and over and over because people were not paying attention. They'd rather be on their phone not listening to him. And the one thing that he said that actually really caught my attention was he said, I'm not actually expecting you to be respectful to me. I'm not expecting you to be respectful to those around you. I'm expecting you to be respectful to God and His Word while we are doing this. So please, he's like, please don't use your phones. He's had to say it more than 4 times. He's had to move people. I mean, it just happens. Like phones are a big distraction, especially during those times, during YouTube, stuff like that. And games are one of the biggest, if not the biggest. And then I would say YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all those things are next. It's so easy to just hop on for a few seconds, start scrolling, and realize you've spent 30 minutes already on it and not been thinking about it. So that's one of the dangers. I'm going to start with the next piece of this whole live stream. And the next piece is actually quite a different topic, but the next piece is actually training at work. I have a lot of things to say about this because I've been at work. I've been working since I first turned 16, which here you have to be 16 to actually have a job. But before that, I had my own business and I started, cleaning and mowing, and I figured stuff out my own way. But anyways, so I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been in the restaurant business, I've been in store business, everywhere kind of. Anyway, so when I started my store job, every job's different, and it's different ways. Every single job has different values. Every single job has different training. When I went into Safeway, they showed me the basic, quick stuff, but didn't really understand most of it. Like they just kind of showed me real quick. Here's this. Here's this. Okay, get started. They started me off with stocking items on shelves. And so how I first started is I just started opening boxes and grabbing the item. I'd look at certain items on a shelf, say, okay, where is this item? Just like look around the whole aisle. And no one actually told me that on the back of the item, there's a little barcode number. And you can match that barcode number on the sticker on the front of the shelf and actually find it so much easier. And so no one told me that as they were training me. I had no idea. And so, anyways, as I was doing this was such a crazy thing, honestly, because as I was doing this, no one had told me. And so I started trying to match stuff up, and someone finally came to me and said, hey, this is actually a faster way. Oh, okay, interesting. Like, no one really trained me. I'm just kind of learning. Okay, whatever, I'll do it. And so that was basically my first few days there at work is I started to have to learn on my own and figure stuff out and not actually like be trained properly. Take a whole day. Okay, here's what you're going to learn. Let me really show you everything. There's a lot to learn. But they gave me one of the new teenagers, and he didn't really know much about it. Like he'd only been there for maybe less than a year, too. And so, yeah, that was it. That was something else. Like, huh. Let me read this comment for a second. Yes, I totally agree with you. Yes. So cell phones can definitely be a distraction, and cell phones can be useful. I feel like a lot of times right now I'm using my cell phone to, live stream, which live streaming is great, super helpful. Okay. But how many more times do you pull your phone out of your pocket to check YouTube analytics, to check how many likes you got on a video, even with live streaming? So for every one useful thing on a cell phone, I feel like there's at least 4 more distractions on a cell phone, which I'm not saying ultimately that you shouldn't have a cell phone. All I'm saying is just be careful, be warned, and be respectful of others while you're on your cell phone and I guess try not to be distracted. When I'm in that scenario, okay, when the pastor says, hey, don't be using your phone for anything but the Bible app. Okay, I open the Bible app and that's all I open. I look at it, I'm reading it, it's all I open. And as soon as I'm done reading it, turn off my phone, set it beside me. I don't even have it in my hand, it's just set it beside me so I'm not touching it the whole time. And so, yeah, that makes more sense. I see what you're saying. Okay. So anyways, back to the other topic real quick, if I can. The thing about training is so I started there, I started learning everything. I learned everything fast, but mostly by asking questions. So I made pretty good friends with people in the dairy department because I constantly ask them questions. All right, how do I do this? How do I do this? Could you show me how to do this? I'm not sure how to do it yet. And so by asking questions, I learned so much, actually, so much of what I needed. And so that was how my first job was. Now, I've trained two people in a year and 4 months. And one person, it was actually at my first job, and they sent him to me. They said, "Hey, this guy needs trained. We'll send you to this guy. He's been here for in 4 months. I already started training a guy, which felt pretty good to me. They trust me enough to train this guy. They think I know enough, and I did. I trained him every possible thing I wasn't trained on, and that's what we should honestly. It's such a weird thing to think about. But I trained him everything I wasn't trained on at the start. Everything that I didn't know, I made sure he knew, and I worked right beside him. Okay, come here with me for a second. You and I are gonna work together. We're gonna learn this whole thing. You and I are gonna get the whole thing down. I'm gonna stick with you, and then we can really do this. Okay. And that was the first time I trained someone, and I was a little bit nervous. My first time training someone. Okay. But my second job, I actually started. I've been there almost a year, so this week it'll actually be a year since I've been there. So, anyways, when I started my job, this is the difference from jobs and bosses for sure. So here's the thing: is the boss at that job took the whole day to train me. I mean, it was a day they were already closed, but he took the whole day. He explained everything from what's better, what's faster, what's more efficient. He said, if you find a way that you think is more efficient, that you think is faster, stick to it. I'm okay with that. You tell me, and we can work with it. But he showed me every single way from mopping, sweeping, even doing dishes, like where you position the garbage can, which ways you turn in the kitchen. Actually, like you wouldn't believe that that's something he would train me, but like it is. Like he gets after me for not moving a certain direction in the kitchen, which I'm grateful for, because when he explained that, he explained if he's coming behind me with a hot plate, he's expecting okay, he's gonna turn around this way, and he's coming this way. He wants to be able to know I'm not going to turn around and run into that hot plate, make sure I'm going the right direction, and he is too. So it's actually a really smart idea to focus on which directions you're turning. If I'm standing here preparing a plate, and so instead of turning completely around like this, I'm going to instead turn this way. And especially when I'm preparing a plate right here, because I'm a cook too, so I cook quite a bit. And I've got the whole thing's right here, okay? I've got say it's a burrito, okay? I'm putting the ingredients on top. I grab the plate, hot plate, set it on the counter right next to me, and that's it. That's all I had to do. Instead of turning a full 360, set the plate over, it's more efficient and faster, safer if you go one direction. And so here's what I actually learned is I learned when you're being trained, so many people kind of act like, yeah, I already know this, whatever. But when you actually have the mindset to learn, instead of the mindset that is, I'm better, I know this stuff, the mindset really changes everything. Because when I started kind of adopting that mindset, okay, I'm going to learn. I want to learn. I want to learn everything there is possible from my boss. I want to learn everything. I started learning the right, even from the ways to mop. Okay. So I would grab my mop bucket, and instead of standing this side, mop a little bit, this side, mop a little bit, you cover the whole thing in one sweep. Stand in the middle and cover the whole thing in one sweep, which is odd, but it really makes more sense because it's more productive, faster. Anyways, that being said, so I've been there for a long time, and I've been, as far as I know, the only person in the kitchen that he has let cook. I'm talking, I'm like just started there, so I've been there for probably 2 months, and he's already like, hop in, let's cook. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute. I'm a dishwasher, not a cook. Like, this is something else. And so this actually took me to a place where I was like, all right, let's start learning. Like, I really can. Now, let me say the first few months learning to cook were very, very nerve wracking. Like, I was scared. Especially so he took some time to show me, okay, this is what you do. That's for this one. Take it. All right, there you go. And in his mind, he expected me to see that plate. Okay, it's down. I've got it. I've memorized it. Perfect. In my mind, it was a little more complicated than that. I was so focused on the fear of not being able to keep up or not being able to be like him that I could not memorize it. The fear was kind of taking over my mind and saying, okay, you can't do this. Um, it's going to really not work out in the end. And so, actually, what ended up happening is for the first several months. I mean, until we got to like 8 months, I was still learning the whole menu. I didn't even know the whole menu yet until recently. And so now that I started knowing the menu and I've got the whole thing down, here's one thing I'll say that really helped me as I started learning is as I was doing dishes, I would finish the dishes up, and when I had one break, I would stop, turn around, and watch him. Every single time, I'd watch him. I wouldn't get on my cell phone. Here, see, it plays back into the first topic. I wouldn't get on my cell phone and play a video game or take my 15-minute break. Instead of taking my 15-minute break, I learned something valuable, and that valuable lesson was to watch him every second I get, because every time I watch him and see from his movements, what is he doing? What is he cooking now? I can learn and make that next time. And so that is one of the biggest pieces is watch someone to learn. If you really want to learn, you have to watch someone. And so that's what I did. I watched him. The only thing I knew how to make for at least 2 months was enchiladas. And here's the reason why is I wanted to focus, okay, I want to find one food that I can without a doubt make and be like, okay, I can make this every single time. And being that my boss is very like, okay, whatever you want. If you want a lunch, you can have whatever you want. Tell me and I'll make it for you. Okay. And so that being said, I only wanted one thing. I wanted to learn and I wanted to make my own lunch instead of have to tell him all the time. And so when I watched him make enchiladas, I figured out, okay, that's a step. Okay. He's doing that. Okay. Let's do it. And I started doing it. I made a few mistakes, probably 4 times. I made a mistake. But that was all I ate for 2 months was enchiladas because that's all I could. That's in my mind. That's all I wanted to learn up to that point. Okay, let's learn this. Let's get this dish down. Let's move to the next. That was by far the most helpful. And after that all happened, after I learned to make enchilada and everything, I learned to make other stuff. Like start to learn. Okay, a burrito. Let's learn how to make a burrito. Okay, so he does it this way, and when he started taking me in as a cook, he started teaching me every possible thing he knew. He started telling me about, other guys he's hired that made mistakes. He's told me about how, never make another plate before you finish the plate. So every single thing applies into this. So, all right, so now that I've kind of talked about the whole training, every possible way he's trained me, I'm going to move into the part where I trained someone else. All right, so I was talking with my boss, and I was kind of talking to him about, by that time I was already 10 months in, and I was talking to him, mentioning, I want to be a cook and all this stuff, and he said, fine, I have a new employee that's coming in, and I want you to train him, and I want you to train this new employee. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so we had the new employee come in, and I walked in, and this is what I did. In my mind, I took every single thing my boss told me, exactly how he said it, and I trained this other employee exactly the way I would want him to work. When you're training someone, I would say the biggest piece, train them the way you want them to work, not the way you work necessarily. Well, okay, so I'm going to back up on that a little bit. I feel like if you should be training someone and you're training them to work hard, you should be working just as hard. You shouldn't be acting as if I guess you're their master or anything in any way. Never. You should always be the person to be the hardest worker and train someone to be just like you, to be a hard worker with you too. So, yeah, I guess it's just a very big piece of this whole thing. Um, Training is the number one piece. So okay, no, I guess I can't say the number one. Okay, I'm gonna go and list of how valuable each piece is to the work ethic. Okay. So I'm going to start with positivity. Positivity is number one because you can't train without positivity and you can't work a long time without positivity. You can't have a good work ethic without positivity. Okay. Positivity is number one on the list. Next on the list is be respectful and show up on time. These ones kind of come together. So you're kind of being respectful by showing up on time. You're caring about the boss. You're caring about the whole business. You're really being respectful. Okay. That's number two. And number three is training. Training is the next most important piece. If you know how to train other people and you are positive, you have a good work ethic, go for it. Like when I train someone, my mindset is immediately focus on how I want them to work. Do I want them showing up late all the time? No. Do I want them, complaining? Oh, I woke up late and I don't really want to work. I'm just tired. No, I don't. And so when I train them, I'm gonna train all the things I don't want them to do, and I'm gonna train them the way I want them to work. And they should be working just the same as me. If I'm working hard, I want them to be working hard too. And so obviously problems are going to arise, and it's going to take a little while for them to learn. You can't just push it on them. Okay, you have to learn now. My boss was obviously very patient with me as I started learning to cook. I made lots of mistakes. I mean, in even 6 months, I still make lots of mistakes. Um, I've been there for a year and I still make mistakes. So if you think about this, my boss has been in the business for 22 years. I've been there for 1 year. So when your mindset is, yeah, whatever, I know, you're automatically kind of pushing out the fact that he knows more than you. Even though he does, you're not focusing on actually learning and taking skills. The reason why I do this on my channel, the reason why I actually teach work ethic is because I've learned so much from my boss, and it's so valuable for other people to be learning the exact same thing. So valuable. I'm gonna hop back to the first topic for a second on cell phones. So I see now that we've got the votes here, most of you guys said yes, but kind of a shocking amount of you guys said no, and not a lot of you said maybe, but there's 11%. Yeah, so that's kind of crazy to me. I feel like, well, that honestly surprised me too much, and here's why. Because I feel like a lot of people see a cell phone as being useful and not a distraction. If you go through, say, the apps on your phone, how many apps out of all the apps are a distraction on your phone? Yo, what's up? How many apps out of all of those apps are actually a distraction, and how many of those are actually useful to you? And okay, so say I'm gonna give you guys one example. YouTube is one of those apps that I find very useful for me because I live stream. I'm a YouTuber, um, and all of them. Well, that's the answer. Yeah, is honestly, and so think about this: is YouTube is very useful for me. Okay, I live stream. I might make money in the future from YouTube. Great. Okay, I'm happy with that. But also for every one useful thing, there's another distraction, and YouTube is a distraction in itself because every time I hop on, okay, I'm gonna hop on, scroll, learn something new on YouTube. Do I actually end up learning something? Maybe one. I end up learning one thing from YouTube from scrolling on shorts, but the rest is just entertainment. And I end up spending an hour on YouTube when I could be out, for an hour making $15. I could go work for my boss and go make another $15 an hour. Now, I'm not saying that's how it should be. All I'm saying is for every one distraction, there's also one useful thing. Okay, so every app on your phone could be used to be useful, I guess, in a way. I guess if you really wanted to, you could say, I film a video game on my phone to make money. Okay, that's fine. But do you focus on, I guess, I'm trying to say how I want to word this really. Do you focus on distractions? Do you focus on being distracted most of the time? Or do you focus on learning? On my phone, I set it up to where there is probably one game on my phone. And the thing I find myself checking the most is YouTube Analytics, which is also a distraction. But the reason why I only have one game on my phone, and I'm literally okay with this because having one game on my phone is actually kind of games are a distraction. So is YouTube. YouTube, social media, it's all a distraction ultimately. Now, yes, you can make money off YouTube, but the real question is, are you making money off YouTube? If you're not making money off YouTube, take a step or say YouTube, but that means any social media ultimately. If you're not making money off of it, what's the next step to start making money if you want to? What's the next step and start it now? And also, if you're not and you're not really focused on making money, but you just want subscribers, then how can you focus on turning the distraction into education? Say, start changing your newsfeed, start changing your YouTube newsfeed or your social media newsfeed, whatever it is. Change it to educational only. That's what you focus on. Start liking videos, and okay, I agree with that. I don't. Okay, and here's, oh my goodness, I have a lot to talk about. This is very in 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna start with saying, if you have, it would be. I'm trying to figure out where I want to go with this. If you start by learning, you can always teach someone else. But if you start by being distracted, you end up influencing someone else. And by influencing someone else, that influence is not necessarily a good thing. Distraction is not a good influence. And so, why do you think that there is, 4 guys in this YouTube that are all distracted? Is because one of them is obviously influencing them. One of them is laughing. One of them is making jokes. And the other one's obviously influenced by that and saying, okay, I'm going to do that too. And then, but before you know it, there's like 4 people right there, all influenced by distraction and causing distraction through the whole YouTube. And so, one of the things I've started to look at and see, okay, people are really wanting to be noticed. They can't go a minute without talking. They can't go a minute without laughing or joking or causing a distraction. Not a single minute. And for me, most of it's literally just been don't talk. They're the problem, stop talking. Don't try to correct them. Say, hey, stop being a distraction. Get off your phone or something, is the louder you are, the louder everyone else becomes too. People are watching the way you react to these kids as well. If you're the mature person, you're going to let the adult handle it, obviously. So I'm just sitting back going, okay, I'm seeing this distraction. I'm not going to let myself be affected by it. I'm going to, okay, that's frustrating. Obviously, I'm sitting here trying to listen and they're goofing off, laughing, and all this stuff. But who's going to end that? The youth pastor. And so I guess that's the key piece, is just knowing when to, I guess, understand it and stay out of it. I kind of watch it actually. It's kind of an interesting thing for me to kind of learn. Okay, why is it that they're causing distractions? Why is it that they're such a distraction? Start to learn along with it and say, okay, that's why. These kids just want attention, and by opening a game on their app and doing this, it feels like attention to them, or that's just all they do every day. It's just hop on their game and play it, and it's become a, I guess, habit. It's become a habit for them to do that. Open it up and immediately open up the game on their phone. So I guess it's interesting for me to watch it and see, okay, that's why it's causing distraction. It's interesting. But it is pretty crazy to see this all. And I guess we are coming up on 30 minutes for the live stream. I'm going to probably stream for another couple minutes till we get to 30 minutes, and I want to end it. But yes, again, I want to kind of go back and say most important pieces of, I might actually put this in the description as well. Put a list of actually what's most important on the list. If you're wanting to have really good work ethic, what's most important going down to the next steps to have good work ethic. And the reason why I really hope by showing my work ethic, it actually helps you guys to create a better work ethic. Maybe you already have a really good work ethic. That would be great. But I'm teaching work ethic because I really hope it can start to change people's minds on the way they act at work, on how many breaks they take, on how much they get on their phone, how much they're actually learning. So I really hope that by doing this, you guys learn something most of all. And I'm going to put some stuff down in the description of this live stream so you guys can check it out. I will put a link to my website. It's called SKOOL School, and I will be teaching exclusive stuff on school. It's on Details Matter. I'll set a link down there so you guys can check it out. It's on Details Matter, so It's only $5 a month for you guys to go check it out. I'll be teaching exclusive content that won't be on my channel on school, and it'll be, again, work ethic. So I really appreciate if you guys go check out the link down in the description. After I post this video, I'm going to go add that in. And I appreciate you guys watching this video. I'll be live streaming tomorrow, and I'll be coming up with a new topic on work ethic to talk about. So